Archery can be an expensive pursuit. If you're chasing the Olympic dream, the cost can be significant. You need top quality competitive equipment, which can cost thousands. Then there's training and eventually travel costs. Although archery is a growing sport, it's not a high profile one, and it can be difficult to secure the funds for individuals to go to state, national and international competitions. Some people are fortunate enough and skilled enough to attract sponsorships. For the majority of archers who aspire to make a name in the competitive world, it's going to be largely self-funded. If you're an amateur and you're seeking to get funding from the state association, no. Unfortunately, you're mostly on your own. If you're a national level shooter, then you might get some support from your national association, but for the most part, state and national associations can't fund archers. From my experience with state associations, this is actually a problem when it comes to attracting people to go on the state team. The reason is a lot of archers are unwilling to take time off work and pay out of their own pocket to go to events. Not surprisingly, archers who are seeking to make it big at national and international level may turn to crowdfunding for their support, especially youth archers and archers who are still in college. Here's the thing though, a lot of these efforts fizzle out because of the lack of support. I recently came across funding campaigns on GoFundMe, and there are several pages of campaigns calling for donations for budding archers. I've got a soft spot for philanthropy, and I like making dreams happen, but I don't exactly have bottomless pockets, and don't forget, I'm also chasing my own goals. Having read through many of these campaigns, I've identified 3 kinds of archery-related fundraising campaigns. The first kind involves raising funds to send an individual to the nationals or even the world championships. The second kind involves supporting a whole team, such as a school competing in the National Archery for Schools program. The third kind seeks to raise funds to set up an archery program. Now, opening the fundraising to the masses on the internet may seem like an easy way to get some support at no personal investment, but therein lies the problem. You probably won't be getting random donations from people who happen to be looking up archery funding campaigns. Now, I make the assumption that most of these campaigns are actually targeted towards friends and family, with the hope that if enough of these people share the project over social media, then they might get enough funds to send whoever to the national championships or the world championships. Unfortunately, unless you have a really large support network, this often doesn't work. And a lot of campaigns sit at only a few $100s after several months. If you want your campaign to draw more attention, you're going to have to market yourself. I want to talk about 2 perspectives on the matter of fundraising: the donor and the fundraiser. I'm distinguishing between sponsors and donors. Sponsors have a contractual agreement and they get benefits from the partnership. Donors are typically one-off and they do so out of kindness. However, many donors are selective about which campaigns they fund. Let's say I want to contribute something to the archery community and I've got $100. What I'm thinking is, where can this $100 make the most difference? For the typical send me to the nationals campaign, one of the problems is a lack of transparency. Donors will want to know what their money is going towards. They don't necessarily want to know everything, and you don't need a detailed checklist. Although some fundraisers do have a meticulous list of items that they need. But if your campaign goal is $4,000, that's actually quite a bit of money. Let's face it, if your goal is to get money to go to the national championship, it kinda is a bit selfish. In comparison, people who do fundraisers to set up an archery program at a school or a camp may typically ask for the same amount or less. So if you think about it this way, if I donate my money to an archery program, that could help hundreds of people rather than sending one person to an event. Help one person or help many people. For the selective donor, the choice is fairly clear. I also have a small gripe about people who post a wish list of their equipment with the campaign. I get that competitive bows can be hideously expensive. I know, I've got one. And I get that you want the best equipment when you compete at a major event. But don't you already have a bow? Now, this is my personal opinion, but I think that if you're seeking funds for your passion, you have to be able to support yourself in some way without relying completely on charity. If I had to choose something to have ownership over, it'd be my bow. I think that's the most important part. I mean, if you want to get funds to pay for your ticket or pay for food or accommodation, I think that's pretty fair. These are general overhead costs. But your own bow is yours. I'd feel a bit weird if people contributed and basically, it's like I'm saying, buy my bow for me. I find it to be a bit cheesy. I think, as a sign that you are personally willing to invest in your own passion, you should at least buy your own equipment, or at least most of it. So, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just find it a bit weird, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with that position. As a donor, I'm also appealed by campaigns to have some kind of emotional value attached. Remember, people don't know who you are. So if your campaign is on the basis of, hi, I'm this person, I'm going to the World Championships, it's not going to pull my heartstrings as much as, say, someone who's overcoming a crippling injury to participate in the Paralympics. The same goes for archery programs. If you're seeking to get a startup project to have a business model and a profit, don't even ask. But if you're a volunteer and you're setting up an archery activity for a camp or a youth group or a school, that, I feel has more value and you're doing a service to the community, and I respect that more. That leads on to my advice for fundraisers. The most important thing is to connect to every single one of your donors. Value every donation you get, no matter how much. If people see that you are sincere and appreciative, it encourages more people to donate. It's important in the big picture because if people donate and they don't feel like they're acknowledged or appreciated, then they might give up donating overall. Have a reward scheme. Have multiple tiers. This is how corporate sponsorship works. Now, you might be most familiar with this through Kickstarter, although GoFundMe also has the option of setting reward tiers. Regardless of whether you're getting funds for yourself, for your school, or for your club, I strongly encourage that you have a reward scheme. If you're going to ask people to give you something, you have to be willing to give something in return. Some people go down the path of advertising and promotions, but not everyone is in a position where they can do that. More important than promotional work is, especially for individual private donors, is to have that feeling that they've made a difference. For example, one reward might be a signed photograph of you at the event. Not a digital one, I mean a real one, something you can hold, something that's sent out to every single donor. That souvenir is a priceless keepsake, and it reminds people of what they've contributed to. That's the connection that you're aiming for. Are you good at crafting? You could make something for your donors. You can make a patch, a scrapbook, some artworks, or some kind of trinket. These things have minimal cost, but you put a lot of emotional value into it. And that's a big thank you for your donors. You could invite donors to read your personal blog where you record your achievements, and you can thank them publicly. You can make videos on YouTube, for example, about archery and yourself and your love of archery. Again, thank them publicly. If there are people nearby, you may want to organize some kind of meetup where you can have lunch together. These sorts of things are minimal cost and they don't involve that much effort. But the most important thing is people want connection. The donor wants to know the human story. They want to know the people side. They want to know they've made the difference. If you can share that, if you can say, look, I'm a real person. You're not giving to some corporate fund. You're giving to a person that is making a big difference. And you can see this through my life, through my blog, through my video, through my personal achievements, through my photographs. You're sharing your life with your donors. And that can be a really, really big deal. Donors like to feel that kind of goodness. The same goes for people who are organising an archery program. If I donate to you, I'm not going to ask for anything. But I'd be really happy if I got a memento from the group. Something like a photo which I can put on my desk that can remind me of how I've made a difference to someone somewhere out there. It reminds me of my own generosity, and that's a good feeling. Even something gimmicky like engraving your donors' names onto your bows. And that's a pretty silly idea, but it's a cute idea. I mean, why not? Small things like this encourage people to get involved and be generous. They know that what they're doing is being acknowledged and it's appreciated. It means a lot when people donate to you, and you can make someone else feel good by reciprocating with these small rewards. I'd like to finish off by spotlighting 2 campaigns on GoFundMe that I think exemplify spirit, courage, and dedication to archery. The first campaign is from Bruce Strong of Massachusetts. Bruce has been a volunteer archery instructor at his YMCA for over 14 years. Bruce provides the equipment and teaches adults and children with the hope that they can aspire to greater goals. Bruce finds joy in helping students find self-confidence and helping them realize that they can succeed. Bruce has taken on training as a coach and seeks to upgrade his equipment to better cater for his students. Bruce's dedication is respectable in itself, but his professionalism makes his campaign deserve more attention. The second campaign is from Staff Sergeant Ed Patton. Ed was injured in a helicopter crash and took up archery as part of the Wounded Warrior program. He has since represented Team USA as a Paralympian. Although the initial goal of going to Bangkok has not gone ahead, Ed is still accepting donations to help continue his training with the goal of going to Rio in 2016. I've personally donated $100 to both of these campaigns to acknowledge their hard work and so that they can continue to aspire and inspire. If you are able, I warmly encourage you to contribute as well. The links to these campaigns are in the description below. Anyway, I hope this advice is helpful to some of you. Aim high, follow your dreams, and may your arrows fly true. This is NUSensei. I'll see you next time.